GEEKCASTER, everything sci-fi fantasy. How you guys doing today? I'm Michael, and you're watching GEEKCASTER. And today we've got in the studio
Dayveonne Bussey,
Corey Davis.
That's right. This is GEEKCASTER, everything sci-fi fantasy. I'm Michael, and we're all together here for you guys. Change traffic. Ah, that was nice. Something like that. Yeah, you're watching GEEKCASTER. Today we're going to talk about a whole bunch of new movies that are out for streaming, as well as some technology. But let's start out with the streaming stuff first. What you got, Dayveonne?
We got a list of 5 films.
Let's
First
go.
film is Army. First film we're going to discuss is Army of Thieves. I was about to say Army of the Dead, but it's Army of Thieves. It is the prequel to Army of the Dead. Next one is Venom 2, not Venom, Venom 2. The other film is Funhouse, that is exclusively for Hulu, and 2 other films, Night Thief, which has Megan Fox in it on Netflix, and the next film that just recently came out is...
Doesn't matter, because we didn't see it. You're the only one that saw it, bruh.
Yeah. The Harder They Fall, but we're not going to discuss that film, but it came out today. Check it out, everybody, and then we'll do another discussion on that next time.
Make me feel bad. Yeah. So let's start out with Night Teeth, because that was surprising. Dayveonne, you put me onto this one. I was like, okay, Night Teeth. Tell the audience a little bit what Night Teeth is about.
So pretty much, it's a group of vampires and humans that have made a truce. And it's this one particular vampire who's trying to take over and bring back what the vampires used to do, is be dominant. So you got the main character who is pretty much an average Joe, but his brother is a chauffeur for these vampires. Things go south, then you know the rest. Not going to get too much details because it's going to be a spoiler.
It was good because it was a surprise to be so good. Now, I didn't get that he was a chauffeur for them. I thought he was a chauffeur, and not to give things away, but people were looking for him.
Yeah.
Kind of, right?
Because even though what the situation is, a little bit of spoiler, he's a chauffeur, but remember, there were certain things that happened in the beginning, and then they elaborate later on throughout the film what was the situation.
I like the fight scenes. The blood wasn't too much. The character development I thought was surprisingly good, especially for a film where you're like, should I be watching this? Is it going to be corny? It was good. And yes, Megan Fox was in it, but not that long. I feel that...
Very brief.
She definitely got a quick check. That was like 1 day of work.
Yeah.
If an afternoon. But I would say definitely check that out. So, moving right along, and it's hard to not say Army of the Dead because it's Army of the Thieves.
The prequel to Army of the Dead.
Listen, Zack Snyder, I respect him. If I didn't respect him so much when he did Army of the Dead, I respect him even more doing Army of the Thieves, because he basically plucked a character out from Army of the Dead that was good comedy, good kind of like important to the story,
Correct.
But then created this whole other story. You know? Corey, did you see that?
All right, so not to go deeper into my review, because I am writing a review about Army of Thieves.
Okay.
I found it completely underwhelming. I thought that it was just a ridiculous movie. Yes, absolutely. He took the one character that most people really didn't care about. He did stand out in Army of the Dead, but in Army of Thieves, it was just... They tried way too hard to make him more relevant and interesting.
Okay.
Well, okay, I'm going to disagree with Corey. it shared the light of a particular character because in the beginning of in Army of the Dead, you didn't know too much about him except that he cracked safes. So in this one, it elaborated more about him and also elaborate the quirkiness and the goofiness about him. And why he's quirky, why he's goofy. It made sense.
It didn't make sense because,
all right.
So for those who didn't watch Army of the Dead, you definitely should watch it. Army of Thieves is the prequel to Army of the Dead,
right?
Where you took this one character and basically how he is in this film does not correlate to how he is in Army of the Dead.
Yes, it does.
In what way?
In the way of they took the trope of he's a geek, he's very interested in safes. There's a whole list. The one thing I will say is the circle of safes that is Hans Wagner's magnum opus. I did like that. There were other safes, and he did get to explore those safes, and now we understand why he was so fascinated with that safe.
Right.
We kind of understood that, but we didn't need this movie to go further in depth about one particular thing. I felt like it was a waste of time. The jokes were slapstick at best. It was not that entertaining. I did not care about the cast of characters that surrounded him on this one journey. It was an entire movie for a support character that really did not do much in the first film. I felt like we didn't need this.
Interesting. And I'm sure we're going to hear more
in my review.
In your review.
Yeah.
Was it necessary? No. Could they pick out other people? Well, if you didn't see Army of the Dead, there's not that many people you could have... Well, no, I guess they could have done backstories.
Yeah, the backstory of...
I don't know.
Yeah.
You didn't
they could have...
You didn't need it.
No, technically, you're right, Michael.
No,
if you really think
other characters. I'm just saying if they were to pluck other characters which might have seemed more interesting, I think that's why I thought it was kind of brilliant because was my heart going out for this character? No. But did they develop areas to say, wow, here's this person that had a full life, like he wasn't just the nerd trope, like there was a little bit more to him.
Right.
Didn't go too much further, but I thought that was nice. He wanted love. He had a crush. I did feel something for him at the end, at least.
Right.
Corey's like,
look at Corey's face,
I'm
like
dying here.
Now, what was his character's name? I think his real name is Mathas. He's a very interesting name.
I really didn't even care about that.
Wow. Was that? Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
It's really German. It's a German last name. German name.
No, his real life name.
Oh, his real life name?
Oh, Matthias.
Yeah, Matthias.
Yeah, Matthias. I can't pronounce his last name. It is German.
He was Ludwig Dieter.
That was his alter ego.
Oh, Sebastian, right? Wasn't he like Sebastian?
Yes. Yeah.
So that was interesting. All right. Anyway, please comment. Let us know what you think of Army of Thieves. Was it worth it? Was it worth Zack Snyder's genius? Because I would say it was an enjoyable ride. I would have been pissed if I went to the movies, though. So I think
absolutely.
I think that's the level now. Because of streaming, you could really just passively just be entertained, which I don't know how Hollywood is really going to deal with this because so many things get a pass because the bar is lower because you're home. Now, they're still putting a lot of energy, and you could hear it, the sound effects, the special effects. They're not slowing down as far as those things when it comes to films. I think they're really raising the bar. But the fact that a lot of people don't have 4K TVs or just being introduced to 4K TVs, they don't even have the 6K, 8K, and all the surround sound to make this beautiful product. It's interesting to see, where's the bar. For me, I always, this was cool. If I paid for it in the theater, would I have enjoyed it as much? Because I think if I pay that money and literally go through that whole thing of going to a movie theater, the bar becomes higher. Because I went out of my way for my whole afternoon to see this flick.
Like, it was perfect for where it was.
So, all right, what's next?
Feel like,
you heard me?
I just want to say one more thing. I feel as though this movie was the red box version of Netflix quality that they're putting out. And even then, you can take it however you want, but I'm still putting that as a negative. It was a red box that I wish I would not have invested my time and energy into.
I see where you're going with it.
Yeah.
I see
Natalie Emmanuel, who plays his love interest, would garner a lot of people, especially if you're a fan of her as Missandei in Game of Thrones. I think that was the selling point, but then the execution. There's more. I'd go into it.
But she's hot. I'm not going to lie. She is super hot, but let's continue on.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, we got to do a whole political show on that one because I got things to... Let's move on. Let's move on. Side note. Squid Games. Will the memes stop? This is crazy. I'm considering
what?
Squid Games. It hasn't slowed down. Well, you know what I mean? To a crawl yet.
Dude, it's still new and it's still fresh in people's minds. Like it's going to be a while before the next big thing happens, or the next big show occurs.
Gotcha.
This brings me back to a previous conversation that Michael and I were having about the Korean formula, like how they cracked the code. They cracked it in K-pop, and they're cracking it now with Netflix. We're not new to this or hip to this, but it's whenever they crack the code and go on a global scale, this always happens.
So
and
when are we going to Korea?
Whenever you want.
So we can figure out how they crack this code.
I got my passport.
I mean, you can see it with the music that they did with Psy and Gangnam Style and Blackpink, and now it's just K-drama. So they've been doing it for years with horror movies. It's just the next evolution.
And a good segue, because you said horror movies. Blum, bum, bum. Funhouse, another one that Dayveonne said you gotta see this. This is crazy. It's Funhouse. This very rich man, kind of on the vibe of a Squid Games, and I'm super rich and I have a vendetta on social media people, so here we go. Here's this joyride, and it does teeter between a B movie
to a what?
To a, I don't know. It's like B
independent film.
Yeah,
So it's a B+ player.
It's a B+ player, but it is. I think between the gore and the excitement and shock value, and Dayveonne said it best, there is a message in there, and I think people will enjoy it. I think it's one of those you already saw, like, up 2 movies already, or date night. You're like, let me squeeze one more in there. I think it's perfect for that. What do you guys think?
It's also outdated because it came out in 2019, so don't expect like the newest, greatest thing. This is an older movie, but it's still an enjoyable watch.
Yeah.
Right. Only thing I have to say I didn't like about it was the ending. The ending to me was like, it could have been way better.
See, I like the ending. It was predictable, but how you got to the ending was a big surprise.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah, but they wasn't. See, whoever wrote that, you weren't slick. We saw it coming. Like, it wasn't like.
Facts.
All right, so let's go.
Don't send us to the fun house.
Yeah, so let's move on to technology. Now, I was able to, on more than one occasion, play around with the Oculus, and I thought it was cool. But this Oculus 2, guys, is this the one?
Yes. Yes.
And why? Why is this the one?
Yeah.
So augmented reality is becoming more of a thing. And if you do virtual reality and you know about augmented reality, we have it on our phones like Harry Potter, Pokemon Go.
Right.
They've been pushing the augmented reality experience, and now you can actually live through it. They partnered up with Facebook, so you can hold live events through the Oculus too. So you can talk to friends. It's taking Messenger and putting it in augmented reality. So you can see your friends. You can talk to a whole bunch of people within your community or groups or what have you. It's just the next evolution
Now,
of
you know
technology.
that Facebook, now they're trying to push Meta, and I get it because it is a little corny. Is the Facebook this Meta? Oh, it just sounds like whatever. But they own Oculus, so there really is no partnership there. It's just one wing of the company talking to the south wing of the company, you know?
Right.
Pretty much.
You know.
But it's still exciting. You're still going to.
Oh yeah, I'm picking up one. Yeah. I think so. I
also,
think so.
and also,
I talked myself into it.
Well, also you gotta look at it this way. We had our guests a couple of months ago with Urban Action, Demetrius Angelo. He's really pushing this Oculus thing for his Urban Action. So you get you don't have to physically be there, but you can also interact with people, but more in the virtual aspect.
Right.
And also basically see the interviews and stuff like that for those celebrities are not able to come. Or maybe you could be a part of the virtual aspect while other people are physically there and get to see it firsthand that you're...
I was going to ask you about that, guys. Now, I could see that fun, hanging out, gaming, long-distance relationships. I mean, Listen, none of this is new. This has all been in sci-fi and books and movies since the 60s, if not earlier, but at least since the 60s, right? So, but now it's becoming reality. Can this really replace going to a convention? Can it really replace, or is it just an alternative? If you cannot go, well, at least I'm going to do X, Y, and Z.
I think it's going along the whole Star Trek memorabilia. Everything that we've seen has come to fruition, and we're using it in our everyday life. So I believe this will be the next iteration. I think it will become commonplace. I think it's not going to be the alternative. It's going to be the standard. With social distancing, with things that we can't afford to go to, we can at least show up virtually.
Now, what about taking it a step further? Ready Player One, which is the total extreme, where every human experience you're delving into through this technology, where you're putting on a whole suit, you could feel, you could fight, you could do everything. Do you think, hey, you know what? We dreamed it. That's where we're going. The train's not stopping.
They're doing that now because they actually have a haptic feedback glove that lets you move things in the virtual world. So we're slowly getting there. You can actually feel different temperatures because of the settings. You can tell when something's cold, when something's hot. It's just the immersiveness is in the augmented virtual reality world coming into the real world. We're slowly getting there, and it's only going to evolve.
What are you thinking, Dayveonne?
Okay, so pretty much I was thinking this. I'm going to have to disagree with Corey. I really feel as though it's going to be a temporary thing. Not temporary, but more in a way where it's, okay, there's an option. You can do the physical aspect, but also you have the option of virtual. And those are your two options. And I can see that going on because not everybody can make it to Comic-Con. Not everybody can make it by Southwest. It costs money to travel from Jersey to Texas or Jersey to California or Japan or whatever.
Right.
Some people may have it, some people may not, but I think this is a right way for us to actually experiment and see what works and what doesn't work, but also what works for you as an individual. Do you prefer meeting people in person, or do you rather sit home in your house and be virtual with everybody? It all depends.
Okay.
I think now with society, the way we are addicted to technology on our phones, people are building long distance, intimate friendships and relationships through Discord and other apps like that. this is only going to further that. So we're here now, and we're just taking that next step. I don't think it's going to be a permanent thing. I think as a society, we are always looking for the next best thing. People are already isolated and not building relationships in real life. We're already doing it virtually, and this is just going to add to the experience and make it worse per se, depending on how you look at it. Are we going to have physical relationships? It may diminish because we are becoming more addicted to the augmented virtual reality world.
Right. And the freedom, right? You could just plug in, plug out. You know, you could feel safe. So especially those that are socially awkward, or I forgot what it's called, but a fear of being outside or a fear of people. Mm-hmm. So this, I can totally see people gravitating towards that. We saw that in Ready Player One, in more than one personality, where they could be something that they were born one way, but they could create a whole different character, or they're too shy, so they could act a total different way in this made-up world. The side to that, and this is why it's so cool in this show, and we definitely have to do an after show talking about it, but just the psychological effects. So, you know, we'll do an after show. We'll do another part to this, just going off of that. Because I think that we'll end up having a deep conversation.
Yeah.
All right. Apple M1 chip changed the game. They decided to come up with an M1 Pro and an M1 Max. This is insane. Anybody that wants to create augmented reality, anyone that wants to do special effects, basically create their own Star Trek, now have a computer, a laptop that could possibly do this. This is insane. Where are we going from here, guys? I mean, 9-year-olds will be able to like, unbelievable what they'll be able to do.
We're leading into a world where technology ruins livelihood, and the people that are afraid to meet people will create alter egos of themselves as virtual people. Welcome to the Twilight Zone. Dun dun dun.
I mean, reality is already crappy, and people are looking towards technology to take them away from the crappiness. Ready Player One, like you said, we've been talking about it in sci-fi movies for years. It's finally coming to fruition.
And just to bring something else up, Fox have a show called Alter Ego, where they have virtual characters, and the people actually sing using it like they actually use the virtual characters, but they don't, like, they're just a totally different shy person in front of people, but they're used to costume, which is a virtual character, and the judges will judge their voice and their creativity.
Yeah. Right. And sometimes they're famous people, and because that's like they did a couple of versions of that whole, like, you turn around the chair.
No. This is really with actual people that want to sing, but they're too shy to be in front of.
Right, but there's another version of that where they're like, guess who's singing, or I don't watch.
Oh, that's
I'm talking about the voice.
He's talking about the Masked Singer.
Masked Singer voice. They're all
it's the same. It's the same. You know, same kind of thing.
Just using technology.
Yeah.
But even if we take it a step further, the whole point of the internet was to connect everyone virtually. You can be yourself if you're interested in, I don't know, building computers, and you can literally talk to someone who was building Google at the time. You can connect to these people virtually. And so now we're taking the next iteration. It's only going to get better. At the same time, it's only going to get worse. How do we stop it? We just have to embrace it. It was inevitable.
Now
it's like Terminator. Skynet is awakening.
Skynet. The umbrella. The end. You were saying that there's some sort of phone that's ending card? The Galaxy Note?
And there's the Galaxy Note. So I have the Galaxy
Note that you talk about all the time?
All the time is dying.
Did you try to trash iPhones and say Galaxy Note will live forever? You're saying it's ending? What's happening, Corey? I just want to make sure I get this correct.
So there's been rumors circulating for years that Samsung was going to get rid of the Note, and they did. So the Galaxy S21 actually has stylus S Pen capabilities. So it's going to replace the Note, but because of that, it's going to be the same size. They also have this Galaxy Fold, which is a foldable phablet. You can have like a pocket phone, and it open up into the size of a tablet. Yeah.
Phablet? What's a phablet?
Phone tablet. It's like the iPad is a phablet. So you can use it to make phone calls. You can use it as a tablet. So with these other big phones as its competitions, like they're competing with themselves. They're taking the Apple product cannibalism.
Cannibalism?
Yeah. Do you not remember when Steve Jobs said you make a product that people want and then you make a better product that supersedes that so that they constantly keep into their products? That's why Apple is amazing at their evolutions. So, yeah, I think they called it product cannibalism. I forget the correct terminology, but Samsung is basically doing that, and they have other options that you no longer need the Note for, but you can still get the Note in another form.
Gotcha.
So the new S21 Ultra will have some Note DNA, but the Note line officially ceased to exist because they released that they're no longer going to make plans to release the next iteration of Notes. So it's dead.
No.
And I want everyone to go back to our older shows and listen to all the junk Corey spoke about with the Note. So you understand how happy I am right now. And everybody, let's give everyone their social media.
Dayveonne Bussey on all the things except for Twitter. Shabal Williams, Twitter.
You can send all of your hate mail to me, Corey, at IMGT3 on everything.
And put all that venom towards Corey. Thank you. I'm Michael on IG, and you're watching GEEKCASTER. Thank you, everybody. Yeah, we talked about the Oculus, the M1 Chip Pro, the M1 Max, Night Teeth, Army of Thieves. Check that out. Funhouse. And if you didn't see Squid Games, I don't know where you are, but please catch up to the rest of society. You're watching GEEKCASTER. Thank you so much for rocking with us.
Step your game up. Step rocking.